Hello and welcome once again to the video. In this one, I thought I would take a look at this die-cast metal 1:43 scale model of the Ferrari F2004, which took part in the 2004 Formula One World Championship, plus 2 races at the start of the 2005 Formula One World Championship. I have shown this car on a video previously. Back in July 2021, I did a repair video where I repaired the rear wing on this car, basically. I think it was only the rear wing. And also on Jensen Button's BAR Honda from the same year, 2004. But I didn't talk much about the car, so I thought I would just fill in a few more details and get a closer up look at the car. So let's have a look. Now, getting the focus right is always a bit tricky. Always a bit tricky getting the focus right. Yeah, so I've had this car for 20 years now. This car completely dominated the 2004 Formula One World Championship, with Michael Schumacher doing 99% of the dominating. Rubens Barrichello, the Brazilian driver, being his teammate. Very much a sort of Verstappen Perez type pairing they were. This car was, who was the chief technical director? I think it was Rory Byrne was the chief technical, no, he was the designer, chief designer. Technical director was Ross Brawn, and the chassis designer, chief chassis designer, I think that was his title, was Aldo Costa. Now, Aldo Costa is famous for having won more world championships than any other designer, basically. Adrian Newey, everyone talks about Adrian Newey, but Adrian Newey only won 25, or so far has only won 25 championships. 12 constructors, 13 drivers. However, Aldo Costa has won 26 championships, 14 constructors and 12 drivers, with Ferrari and Mercedes. I think he was the chief designer for the 2014 Mercedes, I think. Aldo Costa. Anyway, he was the chassis something or other for this car. They all have lots of titles, don't they? They pack loads of people into the team and they all give them slightly different titles, and you tend to sort of think that they're pretty much made up. They could probably just have one team of 3 or 4 people and just call them the design team, and that's it. But no, they have to have flashy titles. Everyone has to have a flashy title. Yeah, so the 2004 one. This was a 3-litre V10, normally aspirated, sometimes called naturally aspirated. But going back to 1989, when normally aspirated engines were first sort of being talked about after the turbo era. There had been normally aspirated ones before that, but you didn't hear that term so much for some reason. I just remember 89, everyone banging on about, or 88, the Williams normally aspirated car, the Williams Judd, as opposed to the previous year's turbo-powered Williams Honda. So yeah, normally aspirated. There, I know we have turbo hybrids now, don't we? In the current climate, don't we have turbo hybrids? I should keep up to date with all the technical specs, shouldn't I, all the time? Anyway, this was a normally aspirated 3-litre V10 engine. The Ferrari engines were always called TIPO for some reason, TIPO. This is the TIPO 053. But I've noticed going back to the 50s, they're always called TIPO. I don't like these models really. I say I don't like them. The only reason why I don't like them is since discovering the Barrichello models, the plastic Barrichello models, which I think are much, much better and cheaper. These metal ones, they're often not quite lined up properly. If you see the rear wing, that's not because of my repair job 3.5 years ago. Often the rear wings are not lined up properly. Same with the front wings often as well. I think the front wing on this one is okay. Yeah. But often they're not. I need to make sure this focus is good. And they break easily. I just much prefer the Barrichello ones you can get these days. These metal die-cast, I'm not even sure what company makes them, but of course this is 20 years old, so you know the metal die-cast ones are older ones than the Barrichello ones. Number 1 on his car, of course, because he was the reigning champion, having won the championship in the previous 4 years, 2000, 2001, 2002 and 2003. This was his last year, winning the championship. So, as I said, it took part in the first 2 races in 2005 as well, this car. So it actually took part in 20 races, 18 in 2004 and 2 in 2005. And it won 15 of those 20 races. In fact, 15 of the 18 races in 2004, with Schumacher winning 13 and Barrichello winning 2. Schumacher could easily have won the first 13 races, which would have been incredible, especially back then. But he had an accident with Montoya in the Monaco Grand Prix, which wiped him out, and that was the only race that he didn't win in the first 13 races. That race at Monaco was won by Jarno Trulli, narrowly leading home Jenson Button. I remember Jenson Button being tight up behind him in the BAR Honda. It's Trulli's only win in Formula One. He won in a Renault. Anyway, so yeah, 15 wins, 13 for Schumacher, had 30 podiums. It didn't really do much in those 2 races in 2005, so all of these stats came in 2004, but 30 podiums, 12 pole positions, 14 fastest laps, and that was back in the day when fastest laps actually meant something. They weren't a stunt pulled by someone in 20th place in the race, just to try and nick the fastest lap off another team or something. They weren't stunt laps back then. They were actually fastest laps, which told you who was probably the fastest driver in the Grand Prix. Over a single lap anyway. Schumacher set a record this year for the most number of points in a season, 148. I think the previous record was Nigel Mansell in 1992 with 108 points. But Schumacher 148, unless Schumacher had already beaten that record in the years before this. I think he might have already beaten Mansell's record in the early noughties. But anyway, 148 points. Barrichello got 114. Button was in third on 85. Ferrari scored 262 points to win the championship. BAR 119. BAR Honda in second place. Of course, that team did become Mercedes. Renault in third on 105. This was back when you had 10 points for a win and 8 points for second. And as I said in my recent points video, it was all about trying to stop Schumacher dominating. Let's give more points to everybody who finishes behind Michael Schumacher in first place to try and close up the championship. But it didn't work. Schumacher still stormed away and won this championship. But only by 34 points. He got 148, Barrichello 114. That looks, you know, relatively close when you consider Schumacher won 13 races and Barrichello only 2. And that's simply because there were 10 points for a win, but there were 8 for second place. So it certainly did draw the opposition closer to Schumacher, but he still won comfortably. But there you go, the F2004 from 2004. Someone requested me doing a little video on this particular car. They wouldn't have known that I had the actual model, I don't think, unless they remembered that old video I did 3.5 years ago. But here it is, as promised a few months ago. 2004 Ferrari. I didn't mind him dominating back then, just like I don't mind Verstappen dominating, because it's all the more sweet when they stop dominating, when they are eventually beaten, as Schumacher and Ferrari were the very following year in 2005 by Alonso in the Renault, and Raikkonen in the McLaren. It just makes it all the more sweet when they are eventually toppled. A bit like going, imagine, it's a terrible thought, but imagine going a week without eating dairy milk chocolate. When you eventually have it, I mean, it's going to be fantastic, isn't it? You know, the experience. So it's a bit like that. So I don't mind these dominances because it, at the end of the day, they deserve to be dominating. Ferrari deserved to dominate this championship as they did the previous championships. They deserved it. So just like Verstappen and Red Bull, even though I constantly want Verstappen to be beaten, the combination of Verstappen and Red Bull totally deserve these championships. Okay, so there you go. Let me just get, I'm going to see if I can get a good shot for the, let's see if I can get, what kind of shot can I get for the thumbnail? Can I move it closer for the thumbnail, maybe? I don't mean my thumbnail, I mean the thumbnail picture on the video, you know. Hold on a sec. Can't see enough of the car, I don't think. I'm going to maybe do it. I want to do it this way, like that's because the timer, the thing that tells you how long the video is, will appear down here, you see. So I want to keep that clear of the car. I want to make sure it's in focus too. You have to make sure it's in focus, or else, otherwise it all ends. Total disaster. I think that's just about as good as I can get it. Okay, that'll do. So let me put the car back down and again adjust the focus as I put the car down. That's my constant nemesis, as it is with anyone producing these videos. The constant battle over focus. Many a time I've done a video and then I've moved the thing that I'm doing the video on and inadvertently moved it out of focus and then had to redo the whole video again. Anyway, there you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or like the video, or any comments. I reply to all comments, pretty much, if I can. And if you'd like to leave a tip on the thanks button underneath the video, that'd be appreciated too. But it's goodbye for now, and I'll see you on the very next video. Thank you very much.